Hello, everybody. So I did a PBL based on a book that we read last year in my inclusion class called Strong Inside. The kids really liked the book for a couple reasons, so I thought it'd be a great idea to try to make it more of a PBL this year when we use it. The book is, as you can tell by the picture, based around a young man who played basketball, but also was a pioneer in the civil rights um, movement, especially in Nashville through his basketball playing. So, the demographics. This is going to be, as I mentioned, a sixth grade inclusion classroom in Nashville, Tennessee. We are a Title I school. We have a history of low reading scores and also a high achievement gap between special ed and general education. The school is culturally diverse, with around 50% being African American, 25% being white, 20% Hispanic, and the rest is a very culturally diverse population. So the why and the driving question. The driving question for this PBL is, how did Perry Wallace handle the racial injustices in the 1960s and 1970s? And how can we learn from this and find out our own ways to handle situations when we are treated unjustly? So not only are the students going to be answering this in their presentation at the end, but this is also going to be their writing prompt that all of them will be using as well. So this driving question will be used thoroughly throughout the project. So I'm going to show you all a video, and I'm going to go ahead and push play to give it a second
People have asked me why I wrote
this load. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'm going to be showing this to the kids, and I think it's really important as a background knowledge when trying to present this book. It really means a lot to me, and all the strong messages it really relays on to the kids. So I'm going to give you all a quick little preview of the book and also give you a little more insight.
Book, and one of my answers is, what if there had never been a book about Jackie Robinson? And I feel like Perry Wallace is a pioneer of the caliber of a Jackie Robinson that people don't know anything about, and it's a real honor to tell his story. So if you look at the cover of the book, it's a picture of a young basketball player with a bit of a sepia tone in the 60s dunking a basketball. And you might think, if you judge a book by its cover, that it's strictly a sports book. But I did not write this book just to appeal to people who are interested in sports. I feel like it's a much bigger book than that. And if you look at Perry's story, it's really a civil rights story, and a story of a pioneer who is achieving things on the basketball court that is elevated to a much different level about race in America and what it takes to be a pioneer in any field.
No good on the shot. Hit by Wallace. He takes it out. Lays it in. Perry Wallace with 6 points. Top on the board.
He played for Pearl High School in Nashville, undefeated season his senior year. He was highly recruited by colleges all over the country. He was a valedictorian and could dunk as well as anyone in the country, high school or college level. He had wanted to get out of Nashville, to get out of segregation in the South. Perry was born in 1948 in Nashville. He entered kindergarten in 1954, the year of Brown versus Board of Education. He was a 7-year-old kid when Emmett Till was murdered. He was a 12-year-old kid sneaking downtown to the lunch counters in downtown Nashville to watch the sit-ins. He entered high school a week after Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. The Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act were passed while he was in high school. At one level, the world is changing. He's recruited to Vanderbilt. He comes to this campus that had only integrated 2 years earlier. But he arrives here, and immediately things are not what he hoped they would be.
So I just want to give you all a short little clip of the book, because I think it'll kind of help your understanding of the project going forward. So on to the next slide. The unit goals and objectives. So the students will be able to take the events where injustice and prejudice occurred in the past and be able to recount in a written format, and also take Perry Wallace's reactions to unfair circumstances and apply to a real world example. So as I mentioned before, not only going to be using the driving question in their presentation, but also their articles, which I'll get into further in a little bit. And also the 21st century goals, which is mainly why I love PBL so much. It's not just content-based. We're really teaching these kids skills that they can use outside the classroom along with their content knowledge. So the students will be able to apply for a position job in a group where and follow their role and communicate with their team to meet deadlines and present to the community about what they have learned together. I'm not going to take the time to go through all the standards, but there are quite a few standards that are in here And also down here, we also have our PBL standards as well. So I'm going to go through an outline of the project. It's a 3-week project. And Monday, we're really going to be introducing the book, showing the video that I showed you all, the project, and read the intro chapter together. So the jobs in this are going to be, there's going to be an editor who is going to be kind of in charge of overseeing the project, journalist, who's actually going to be 3, and then 1 media specialist. So the editor is kind of, as far as the differentiation in this project, that role is going to be a little bit more intensive, because they're going to be not only kind of managing themselves, but also their group. And then also they will be bringing in an outside reading source to compare with Perry Wallace. The journalist will write their standard 3, all students will write 3 paragraphs about their time span that they'll be writing. And then a media specialist who will also write one, as well as kind of manage the presentation part. So we're breaking down Perry Wallace's life into 4 main periods: before high school, during high school, his freshman and sophomore year, and then his junior year and onward. So each group is going to have a different time period, and the kids are going to have the autonomy to, within their time period of their group, pick an event that happened and write about it. So that's some voice and choice there. Tuesday, they're going to be applying for the job they would like. Review note-taking format and vocabulary. So this is a lot of I do, we do, you do on the note-taking part and the vocabulary. We're going to be trying to use some context clue skills as well, teaching them how to use the sentence that the word is in to try to figure out the meaning. But also reviewing that, and that vocabulary that we go over will also be required to be in their writing for their prompt, and also their presentation, to make sure that they are getting lots of reps in the usage and making sure they understand. So Wednesday, they will receive their group that they will be in. And once again, I said pick their writing topics and begin reading. Thursday, they will read and take notes. Friday, they will read and take notes using the note-taking format we had gone over. And if some are ready for the rough draft, they will begin. Week 2, Monday, they'll have team meetings. I'll mention in a little bit the technology used. There's an app called Monday that actually allows you to set different deadlines, and gives them a visual of where they are. And then also rough drafts. They'll start that on Monday. Tuesday, they'll finish their rough drafts, and there's 2 reviewing processes in this PBL. The first one is going to be a peer review. So they will just switch with someone in their group, and they will practice their editing skills. And on Wednesday, they will make the corrections from the peer review and type into their Google Chrome or Google Drive account to get one step closer to the presentation. That's the second piece of technology. The third piece you'll see is in the AutoCrit. I was trying to look for a proofreading app that the students could use besides this peer review, and AutoCrit was really a cool application that shows them what they need to fix. And then on Friday, they'll have another team meeting to check their progress, and also start talking about the presentation. The kids in this PBL are going to be able to make suggestions on who they'd like to invite to their presentation, whether it be their family member, a community member, so forth and so on. Week 3, Monday, they will begin working on their presentations with Haiku Deck, which is another application that is pretty simple. It's pretty basic way to make a PowerPoint. And then Tuesday, they'll work on the presentations. Wednesday, they will practice the presentations in class, where their classmates will actually have the opportunity, using the rubric we'll talk about in a minute, to kind of give a observation of the other groups. And then using those rubrics and feedback on Thursday, they'll be able to make any changes, and also serves as a practice run. And then on Friday, it will be time to present to their chosen audience. Voice and choice. I mentioned some of these earlier, but I'm just going to go ahead and review. So the students will be able to apply for their role in the project. Once again, the editor, journalist, or media. They will be able to pick their topic of the article, as I mentioned earlier, choose their presentation order on who goes first and what that will look like, and offer up suggestions